The CD document phase of a project is where we pile on all the detail that you can imagine and more. CD stands for construction documents. Besides a set of drawings, which in the case of most large projects can get really large, in this one we actually have 2 volumes that are split into the different consultant disciplines, and they range from architects, landscape architects, structural engineer, plumbing, mechanical, elevators, and on and on. And that, in this case, ended up in 2 volumes. Sometimes it's even more. Besides these drawings, we also have a couple of books that we produce that are called the specifications. And these are full of every little detail you can imagine about every material and color and thing that's in the project. And of all the documents, these specifications are probably the most important. If there's ever a conflict between what's in the drawing set here and what's in these specifications, these are the ones that we go by. So these days, these drawings are very elaborate. They're all done on a computer, and the really interesting thing, I think, is the way we're creating these drawings, and it's ideally from a 3D model, where we take all the information from our consultants, mechanical engineer, the structural engineer, and our design work, and we combine it into one large model, and then we actually cut pieces of this model to generate these plans that you see here. Now in the construction document phase, these drawings have long been finished, and we move on to things like elaborate details and wall sections where we describe every little dimension of the project, as well as zooming way in on things like window mullions and describing their exact configuration and the relationship of all the parts and pieces that we designed earlier. Now, ideally in the construction document phase, design is done when you're in DD. When you go into CDs, you're just making details. It never works out that way. So the design process continues all the way through construction sometimes, which makes it fun for people that are working on that part of the project. Some of our projects could be in construction documents for a year or more.
Up to this point, the team had been cruising along discovering the design process. In fact, they were starting to wonder, why on earth does it take so long to put up a building? The next leg of their exploration would answer that question and take them on an unforgettable journey to the lonely side of architecture.
Hey guys, come on in. I'll show you around the CA office. All right, welcome to the palace. This is it. This is the lap of luxury right here. Well, CA, or construction administration, is really when the project is underway and is being built, and our responsibility as architects on site is to monitor the progress of construction to make sure it's being built according to the contract documents, to the actual drawings themselves and the specifications, and to really act as an owner's agent to make sure that to monitor the progress and to also monitor the quality. It's the contractor who's really in charge of means and methods of how they build the building, but we're there to make sure that they're building it per our directions.
Okay.
Well, the construction process for this particular project is an 18-month period, and we spent about the first half of that actually at MBBJ because this is a relatively close project to it. But total time spent out here in the field, probably about 9 months. Well, one of the things that's really been changing in the industry is what we call BIM, Building Information Modeling, also called integrated design or delivery. And what that really refers to is how we're using a building model beyond just design. Now it's also being carried from the earliest part of the design process all the way through into construction. So what we're able to do is really meet with the contractor and subcontractors and review a digital version of the project before it's actually built. And what that does is it really reduces the number of questions that we have, the number of RFIs that we have, the number of conflicts and problems that we have out in the field. and we can get a group of people in this office, and we can sit down and review three-dimensionally the issues before they become issues out in the field. So the 3D process that as architects we've been using for a long time is now carrying it further into construction, further into the project, and we're really getting more than the initial uses out of it. We're getting a lot of benefit from the early efforts.
Good to see you. Thanks for the visit.
After this investigation was completed, Sean and Sonia returned home to their local market studio and shared the results of their extraordinary discovery.
Hey, wait a minute. You're missing something. You skipped the last, but maybe the most important step. After we get done with the project, it's really important that we need to figure out what went right and what went wrong and how to get it right if we missed on something. So most of the time, we don't do this. Most of the time, we get the project done, we sign off, we move them in, and we're done. But it's super, super important, because if you don't know what you did and you don't know whether it worked or not, you might repeat it next time, and it might not be right next time either. And sometimes we might find that we've done something the same way 6 or 8 times in a row, but we really don't know whether it was good. So the other thing that's really important for us as a firm, because we are really focused on human performance and how our buildings work for the people that are in them. So the best way to do that is to go back and survey the occupants and really learn how the building's working for them, because if we don't find out, we'll never be able to do it better. And doing it better is something that we just have to always keep doing.
After this investigation was completed, Sean and Sonia returned home to their local market studio and shared the results of their extraordinary discovery. It was months before anyone would realize the true impacts of their findings, but in the first few days of their return, they were heroes.